Hey everyone, I'm Miranda.
And I'm Michaela.
In this series, we'll be covering house rules for board games. We will share why we love using house rules and give you some suggestions on changes to make to perfect your game nights. Hi guys, welcome back to Come Caffeinated. I'm Michaela and this is my twin sister and co-host Miranda, and we have our caffeine drinks of iced tea today. Keeping it really southern and back to our roots, and we're just getting the same thing. So if you have your caffeinated drink, then we can go ahead and jump on in. Today we're going to be covering more in our series of house rules for board games.
So we're going to actually talk about Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Here, hand it to me.
Okay.
For those of you who don't know what it is, this is the game. You can find it on tons of shelves or like local game stores, and
it got
it's a pretty
popular enough.
one.
It's in Target. I mean, you can find it. I mean, we recommend buying from your friendly local game store.
Yeah.
But if you don't have one in your town, I mean, and you happen to have a Target, I mean, it's a good option. But yeah, our opinion may not be a popular one. I mean, I'm willing to defend it though. And our house rule that we have created is that Betrayal is now a 2-player game.
For those who haven't played it, this is a 3 to 6 player game with a playtime of about an hour. So 3 to 6 people is not that hard to get whenever you're getting a group together. I mean, that's really falling into the averages. Often we actually have too many people to where we're like, oh, we want to play Betrayal, and we're like, you'd have to share roles and stuff, and then you just don't get as much interaction. And so thinking about it more, though, we either have the problem that we have too many people, or we just have too few, or I just want to use it as like a date night with my husband, or we just want to play a game together, and we love the spooky vibe of Betrayal, especially as we like don't get into the seasons, but like right now it's July.
Popularity already has all the
July
fall stuff
right now, and all the fall stuff is out. It's crazy. But so it's getting us in the spooky season mood already.
Yeah. Plus, Betrayal has a lot of stories in it that we haven't even heard. Do you think we've done half of them, or not even?
No,
surely not
even
right?
that. There's 50
some of them we've happened to repeat. I
Yeah.
mean, if you know the game, the scenarios, or the tiles that you come across tell you which story you're going to do. So some of them repeat. But yeah, I mean, we want to tap into all the stories, and you just can't always get a game group together. You know, sometimes you only have 2 players.
Yeah.
So we'll tell you how we make this work. All of the players are played, all 6.
Yeah.
You split them. Each of you start with 3, and you're just going through and making decisions for each character. And we found that it works well, that you aren't just incentivized to strengthen like one character over another, because you don't know who's going to end up being the traitor, and if it's going to be one of your characters, so you don't want to like unknowingly strengthen the other side that you're going to be defeating then. So
if your character, if one of you have 3, your partner has 3. If one of your characters is the one that triggers it and is revealed, like the haunt revealer is chosen or whatever, if one of your players becomes the traitor, then you would keep that player, you would take it on, and you are now the traitor, and your partner would actually take all of the other players. So they'd be playing 5 different roles, and you'd be playing yourself and whatever monsters you would gain from your scenario.
And we played this way. It's really not as complicated as it sounds to play 5 different roles.
It's just a complicated chess game. You know, you just have multiple turns.
Honestly, chess is harder.
Yeah, chess is way harder.
Chess. Yeah, no, I'm no good at it.
No. So something we've liked so far about this game is, or playing with 2 players in this game, is just getting way more playtime, making way more decisions, like, because even though you're still playing with 6 players, we did it back and forth. We actually we used the app on the phone to track our stats, and we just laid these out in an order on the table so that we could clearly see, like, this was the next player's turn, and we did it alternating. So I would play, and then she would play, and I would play, and she would play, and and so on. And so you had very little downtime until your next turn where you'd be making decisions. And that was a great part of it, because as much as I love playing this game with other people, sometimes it can take a long time to make decisions, and I just want to get to like do my one thing where I just go to the chapel and get more sanity or something.
Yeah. Yes. Really, that's the only modification you need with Betrayal to make it a 2-player game. I mean, I can't think of...
We have some suggestions because we did play this through. We wanted to test that it would work, and we found it worked, and so we're definitely going to be playing way more.
It's like more enjoyable, actually. I mean, I would go so far as to say I liked it more than if you were to play with the accurate player count.
Yeah, it makes me feel like even if I played with 3 players, I might want to do the same thing. We all get 2 players to use. And you also, I don't know if you prefer being the traitor or not, but now you have, if playing with 2 players, you have 50-50 chance of becoming the traitor. So that's pretty interesting too. You're still playing with all 6, so the whole house is getting explored well and quickly. Right. We do actually have some tips on playing with 2 people or even 3 people if you were going to take on multiple characters. We found it very beneficial to use the app to track the stats, especially when trading over to another person. You would just tell the other person what the stats were, and they can just keep following all of those characters in the app. And we did that so that, again, we could put these to mark the turn order. When we put these out to mark the turn order, and they were all just like laid out in order on the table, which I'm sure you won't be able to see like this, but we just laid them side by side. And when we gained omen cards or item cards, they would just go right under the card of the person that received them, so we could keep track of that. I recommend having a little note card beside you or a little notepad to mark which characters have already like spent their last turn and gained stats from the various rooms, the larder, gymnasium, chapel, and...
Yeah, that was the main thing that we were like, wait, has Brandon gone to the chapel yet?
Yes.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah. It's not that big of a deal, especially unless you were getting like really even by the end of the game, and you're like, okay, it really matters if their stat went up that one, because that can get pretty particular. But if you have just a little notepad, it's really not that bad to keep track of. You just like would mark, yep, this person went there, or you can find some other creative way to keep track of that too, of which ones have gone. All in Flavor is a social deduction party game for 5 to 9 players. Mayor Tart has been found dead in his home. Don't worry about how he died. What matters is that his seat is up for grabs.
Campaign for the sweet or spicy party, or jump parties until you waffle your way to victory. Cast votes for your fellow party members, if you can find them. Make allies and enemies as you fight to be elected mayor in this election-themed party game filled with many twists and betrayals.
So another thing that we've encountered playing with our friends, I don't know if y'all's friends groups are like this, but we get very competitive. I mean, I don't think anyone is immune to that. And that means that when we play even story games like this, we just tend to be hoarding of information that doesn't, on paper, by the rules, have to be shared. In this game, it's actually hurt us a little bit. That's our opinion.
Yeah.
The rules really say that the only thing that you have to not share with the other person is the how you win, right? The goal.
I have the rules right here. Yes. It's don't tell the traitor what your goals are unless you're sure he or she already knows them or you're doing something required by the haunt.
Yeah. So our friend group immediately took that to mean don't share anything unless it's specifically under that paragraph, the what you know about the bad guys or what they know about you. Unless it's explicitly said, you don't share it.
Yeah, and I don't think that's helped us at all. I don't think it's helped us win the games, enjoy the games, have like this whole cinematic experience for the games. Yeah. It's and maybe other people have already figured this part out. Maybe we're the ones that are silly for having hoarded the information. But being such a competitive group, we saw that heroes and secrets part, and we're like, okay, we don't have to tell them anything. Yeah. Let's keep all this information because information is power. Knowledge is power. Yeah. And so we didn't want to share anything. Yeah. There's a lot of these scenarios that'll have monsters that have stats, and so we'd be like, well, yeah, I mean, he has stats, or we'd say, yes, he has a might stat, or he has sanity, but we wouldn't be sharing what it was. We wouldn't be sharing like what happens when stuff, when you would attack something, or even there's actually a particular one that we were thinking about that we played recently, and it's Haunt 42 in the standard like Betrayal one.
So real quick, spoilers. If you haven't played
Oh,
42 and you want to and you don't want to know the details, yeah, skip ahead.
Yeah, skip 42.
Because
It's called
we're gonna talk about it.
Comes the Hero.
Yeah.
Skip that one, or skip this part of the video.
So in Haunt number 42, the humans get this statue placed in the room where the traitor became the traitor, and we have to bring a certain item to it to animate the statue. And the statue is the only way that we can harm the traitor at all. So we make intelligence rolls, either sanity or knowledge, to move that statue. We have to be in the room and then we move it. And that's what, if it ends in the room with the traitor, that traitor loses a stat in...
Really, if I begin my turn in the same room as it, right?
Yeah, so if we get it to your space, then
Yeah.
you have to begin your turn, and it's in the room. And then you would lose 1 point for the trait, depending on what item we gave the statue.
Yes.
Yeah, and we can't change that during the game. But you didn't know it was a statue for one. I mean, it's an item
just,
pile.
They just tell you to find one of the little, tokens, and it's item pile.
But you also don't even know that you can attack it, because even if I tell you it's a statue, I mean, how would you know?
Yeah, so all of this with
How
the
would they
hidden
know?
information, how would they know? How would they know? With all of this hidden information about it, it really influenced the game a lot, and it starts to make things very anticlimactic too.
Yeah. Well, it was also, I think, very easy for me to defeat you. I won, but it was very easy for me to defeat you.
I almost won. I got close.
I mean, not exactly.
I did.
Maybe. You still would have had to go several moves, and I...
2 moves.
Yeah, but you would have still been attacking. Okay, I got you. Yeah. Okay, almost won. But, yeah, it was... Without the information, it was very easy for me to win.
Yes.
And I didn't know from the trader standpoint that you had to kill one of us and then take one of us to this gates of hell. I mean, it does say that what I know about the bad guy is that it involves human sacrifice. But honestly, I read that at the beginning, didn't go back to it. And then you killed one of my guys, you took him, and I'm like, why are you taking him? Like, I thought he was going to become some demon or something.
Yeah.
I totally forgotten about the original prompt.
Basically, just if something is like currently happening in the game, especially just like be sharing that information. When that pile became an animated thing, it's the fact that it has stats, it basically turned into a monster. So that information should be known.
Yeah. Treat it like a movie. It's cinematic.
Yeah.
A book.
People might disagree with this. I mean, maybe they want to take the heroes and secrets thing to heart and just and have a lot of secrets, but let's just set aside the actual rule part, or what the creators intended, or how you play versus we play. I think what really made the difference is that whenever we've kept all these secrets, it's made it so anticlimactic.
Yes.
There were moments multiple times playing this game, and everybody that happens to, we still love this game enough that we just want to play it again anyways. But there were a lot of times that the end would come and somebody would fulfill their whatever they needed to do to win the game, and they were like, okay, I won. And it was like, wait, you won? Oh, okay. Okay, then you won. You know? Or and so that just really didn't create that like cool experience that we were looking for.
Can you imagine if movies were like that?
They are. So no, I won't call them out. Sorry, no.
What movies are you thinking about?
Netflix movies.
Oh,
Netflix
okay.
movies. I love.
Yeah, no, I could think of a couple.
I love if
maybe.
we're gonna keep this in here. I love Netflix movies and Netflix shows, and I think they're so good up until the very end, and I don't feel like they ever know how to end.
Most Netflix movies or shows?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
You would. It's so good. You're like, oh yeah, it's so good. But if it would just end differently,
I
than
feel
this.
like that way anytime I see, I'm looking for movies, I'm going by their ratings, this one seems popular, whatever, check out that IMDb, I think, has the multiple ratings where you see Rotten Tomatoes and audience score and everything. If Rotten Tomatoes says it's 100%, it's garbage. Like, I know it's going to be artistic and cool in certain ways, but it's not going to make sense to my non-artistically inclined brain, and it's going to end completely opposite of what I think it should be the ending. Yeah. So I don't watch them. Okay. That's how I choose what to watch. Oh, 100%? No.
Even if you don't really think that this is the right path to share so much information, I encourage you to try it and just see how it changes the cinematic feel and just the overall like satisfaction you get like finishing the game. Like did it really have this kind of like crescendo moment of, oh my God, is this person going to win or is this person going to make it in time? You know, because if you know what you're doing, if you know what that team's doing and what this team's doing, you can clearly see that like, okay, I got to whip it in gear so that I can beat them to the punch. And without sharing information, that's just not possible.
And talking about this, you know, Hail Mary moments, really. Yeah. I just was communicating on a Reddit post recently in the subreddit Board Games about how games that have a different ending trigger are more likely to have these kinds of moments, this like climactic ending. And what's more true than to this game? I mean, this game has a ton of different ways it can end, and the trader's always different, story's always different. I mean, this has the potential for it to always be, you know, a Hail Mary moment, or almost always. I think that would be how this game would shine the best.
I agree. Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in today. If you stayed around this long, we're at our third video now. So we are twin sisters. We started this board game design company. We're branching into the publishing company as well. And we've been doing this since 2021, I think, is when we first started designing. And we've only just been able to commit more time to it in the last couple of months. So it has been a roller coaster, but a really fun journey. If you've gotten to be in the board game industry or in board game design before, I think you'll agree how exciting the process can be sometimes. I mean, honestly, a lot of times it just feels like we're playing, but the hard work is like much more deterring than just, oh my gosh, I thought about a new game at 3 a.m. and I want to do it now. So that's what we've got to curb against. But yeah, that's us. And you can read more about us on m29games.com. You can see our story. You can see our purpose for our company.
And don't forget next time to come caffeinated.